Sakamoto Days is known for its uniquely fluid and creative action, and part of what makes that possible are the weapons. Sure, you have characters that just use regular old swords, knives, guns, and whatnot, but you also have characters with out-of-this-world weapons that are extremely powerful, especially when in the right hands. And with so many of these weapons existing in the world of Sakamoto Days, I figured that today I would rank what I believe to be the 5 strongest weapons. Just before we get started, I want to point out that just because someone who is strong uses a particular weapon, it does not make that weapon in and of itself really strong. Sakamoto can literally turn flip-flops into a lethal tool, but flip-flops by themselves are not a strong weapon. Likewise, Takamura is the strongest in the series and uses a katana, but there isn't anything special about Takamura's katana that makes it strong. It's more so dependent on the user. So when I say strongest weapon, I mean that the weapon by itself, even when given a less competent user, can still be incredibly powerful, versatile, and destructive. With that out of the way, let's get into number 5. First on the list is Tenkus Bow. First shown off in chapter 185, Tenku immediately shows the power of his bow when he instantly annihilates 3 prisoners with ease. It's not known where the arrows are stored for this bow, but the raw power behind it has been shown to be able to completely tear people apart. Sure, Shin was able to take a few hits from it, but after doing so, Shin noted that he was barely able to move his body and had to use self-hypnosis to force his body into moving past its limits. Moreover, Tenku's bow doubles as a pretty strong melee weapon, and even just the string has the durability to withstand a full power strike from a massive sword without even bending. On top of this, the bow itself has been proven to be just really versatile, being able to literally strike the air hard enough that it gets shot as if it were a projectile, and act as a makeshift slingshot, and even be used as a precision cutting instrument when Tenku slices a guy's head in half just by pulling back the bowstring and releasing. The reason Tenku's bow is at the bottom of the list though is because it inherently requires a lot of precision to use to its fullest and hasn't shown the same destructive feats as other weapons. That could be chalked up to Tenku simply not being as strong as other characters, but I feel like while the bow itself is powerful, it only goes so far when you compare it to the other weapons on this list. Our 4th weapon is Gaku's Mace. Gaku's Mace is a relatively simple weapon, but its raw destructive ability, built-in laser, and overall construction make it an incredibly powerful weapon. For one, we know how strong Gaku's Mace is. When wielded by Gaku, who is already pretty strong, he's able to casually tear through people, knock someone as strong as Nagumo around and through walls, and even just flat out break Nagumo's weapon. Throughout their whole fight, Gaku's Mace, never showed any signs of damage, while Nagumo's multi-tool thing was steadily growing weaker and weaker as Gaku continued pouring on attacks. In fact, the only person shown to be capable of breaking Gaku's Mace is Takamura. Moreover, Gaku's Mace has a built-in laser to help with its versatility. The laser isn't shown off very often and doesn't pack the greatest punch ever, but it does have enough force to act as a thruster to launch an entire car, and also just helps Gaku set up his opponents for an easy hit with his mace. All in all, Gaku's Mace is incredibly strong. The only reason it's down at number 4 is because, again, I feel like the weapon itself only goes so far when compared to other weapons. You need to be really strong to wield the mace, the laser isn't really that fast or strong, and the weapon itself lacks versatility. It makes up for it in pure and solid power, but again, you yourself need to be really physically strong to wield it to its fullest potential, otherwise it's just dead weight. Our 3rd weapon is Carolina Reaper's Gas Saber. This thing is literally only ever shown once, but what's shown is legitimately impressive. The Gas Saber gets hot enough to cut through Amane's staff, and based on what we know about the staff and Amane himself, we can assume that the staff is probably made of titanium. Titanium's melting point is over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit or 1,600 degrees Celsius. For reference, the surface of the sun is about 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, meaning that the Gas Saber, at bare minimum, is 1/3 the temperature of the surface of the sun. One swipe of the Gas Saber was shown to be able to just straight up cut through Amane's staff, meaning that it's likely hotter than that. Carolina Reaper just waving the thing around was casually causing fires, and it's literally the only weapon to ever deal significant damage to Shishiba. Shishiba has taken hits from Yotsumura, Torres, Oki, and more, and he's always come out of it ready to fight. After one hit from the gas saber, Shishiba literally just dropped to the floor and was unable to fight. However, destructive ability is pretty much the only thing the gas saber has going for it. It's not really that versatile, and you need a source of gases to actually power the gas saber. Carolina Reaper can just make those in his body, but if you can't, you would need something to power the gas saber, so it's sitting at number 3. Our runner-up weapon number 2 is Gozu's electricity claw things. These things have been introduced very recently and have literally only gotten one showing, but the one showing it got was really impressive. Using his claws to presumably direct his electricity, Gozu was not only able to completely ignore Kamihate's bullet, but also instantly stun the Order member before they could even react. Right after this, Gozu shatters Shishiba's hammer, uses static shocks to disorient Shishiba, and then builds up a big blast that completely stuns him and literally has Shishiba apologizing to Osaragi, presumably because he thinks that he wouldn't be able to save her after being hit with the electricity. And then it's shown that the electricity unintentionally reawakened Osaragi after she passed out, showing that the weapon can even act as a defibrillator. Now, as strong as all of this is, it's not actually clear what the nature of Gozu's claws are. It could be that they are the source of his electricity, or that they could simply act as a way to direct it, while Gozu himself is the source of his electricity. But regardless, what we do know is that they're incredibly powerful. Instantly incapacitating 2 Order members with almost 0 difficulty is insane, and it's not even like Gozu has only big blasts of electricity that he has to charge up. Even his normal hits are electrically charged, making fighting him incredibly annoying. It might not have the most versatility, but it's incredibly strong in offense, and for that, it gets the number 2 pick. Before we get into what I think is the strongest weapon in Sakamoto Days, we have a few honorable mentions, the first of which being Izuki's whip chain. This thing is honestly really cool, but it unfortunately hasn't shown that much power or destructive ability. It's definitely versatile, allowing Izuki to swing around, restrain people, and attack in unconventional ways, but the damage it does is not that great. Beginning of series, Fat Sakamoto was tanking those hits, Flashback Nagumo casually blocked it with one hand, and outside of that, it's never shown doing much damage unless it's to fodder, so it's going in the honorable mentions. Next up is Nagumo's multi-tool. This thing is like 6+ weapons in one, which makes it incredibly versatile and great for trickery, but the weapons themselves are not anything special. They're just normal swords, scythes, and axes, and while that's great for someone as strong as Nagumo who can wield those effectively, placed in the hands of someone less skilled, the weapon becomes far less powerful. Also, it's been shown that the durability of the weapon isn't that great since it has so many moving parts, so that leaves it in the honorable mentions. Our last honorable mention is Osaragi's buzzsaw. This thing is surprisingly versatile, having this built-in grappling system that shoots ropes to restrain opponents, or allows for Osaragi to straight up launch the buzzsaw at people and swing it around. Also, this thing spins fast enough to act as a wheel and make Osaragi roll around, and obviously just does a lot of damage. It's just, a lot of other weapons also do a lot of damage, and I don't feel like this one is a particularly great standout. I can definitely see the argument for this one making the main list though. Finally, for what I believe to be the strongest weapon in Sakamoto Days, we have Kumanomi's electromagnet. I know, Kumanomi herself has been taking non-stop L's since the museum arc, but her weapon is legitimately insane. It's got the power to straight up pull an entire truck from who knows where, can create weapons out of any environment that has metal, and even offers solid protection for Kumanomi by allowing her to make armor and walls for herself. Also, her trump card, the coil gun, has enough power to pierce through someone as tough as Hio. The electromagnet just has the best combination of offensive, defensive, and miscellaneous capabilities, which is why I think it's the strongest weapon in Sakamoto Days. But if you happen to disagree, please let me know, and if you want to hear more of my opinions, check out this video on why Izuki is a bum.